Good morning. I'm Chris Jones with Astra Realty. Well, we've got a fun question that we're addressing today. You can see behind me, I've kind of written out a couple of fun notes just for timing of this video to make it go a little faster and more enjoyable. And one of the questions we have often in commercial real estate is, does this location fit my business and its use? Well, that's a great question because it is a number one deal breaker. Number one, zoning and entitlements. So whether you are developing a piece of land or you have a property that you are wanting to use for your business, whether you're wanting to improve on it or use it as it is, zoning and entitlements are really big. So your property might be located in the city, or it might be located in a rural area, or maybe an ETJ, an extraterritorial jurisdiction, which we had here in Texas. So you need to know the difference between the two, because if it's in the city, usually you're going to be dealing with the city planning and zoning development services. If it's in the county or in the ETJ, oftentimes you will work with the county where the property is located, sometimes both. So it just really depends. And oftentimes, especially I know here in Texas and other areas, that there is so much development being done here. One moment, your property might be in the ETJ, and then the next moment, the city might be wanting to acquire or absorb that land and annexation. So when you're thinking about your property, you found the location. Yes, you found the location. Here's a fun mock of my wonderful artistic cow. It's here of an office building. It's on a really nice road right here, a couple of trees. So it's a really great property you've been looking for a while, and you think, this is it, this is it. You've gone and you've toured it with your agent, and you're in love with it. So now you need to know, can my business work out of this location? Well, there's a couple of things that you need to think of. So what I always suggest is you got to do your own due diligence. So you and your representative, definitely, you need to do your own due diligence. Don't rely on anybody's word or printed material. Do your own due diligence. And I would always say there's things that you can do in pre-due diligence, and there's things that you might need to do in due diligence. It just really depends. So you haven't written a contract yet on the property, but you're really interested. So there's some things that you want to take a look at. I would always recommend, and I'm not an attorney, so I have to disclose that, I would always contact the city or the county, wherever the property is located, and ask about the zoning of the property. Bring up in conversation with them how you're planning to use the property. Are you using it for retail? Are you going to be putting a restaurant in there? Are you putting in a private school or a wedding venue or a dental office, medical office, light manufacturing? So always go and talk with the city or the county first and have a preliminary meeting with them, usually up front, so you can discuss a lot of questions that you have. They'll help you with a lot of questions you don't even know that you need to ask. But if you have a piece of property that you're developing, going to put the building on here, or you're working with what is already there, sometimes you might need to employ the help of a civil engineer, an architect, to help you look into that property. There might be some things that you might want to consider on the property, such as, is it in a flood zone? Now, we usually will access a website that helps us to find out if the property is in a flood zone or not, or what kind of a zone it's in. Also, the VPD, so vehicles per day. How many vehicles per day are passing by your business right here? So we have some cars going by. This could be, anywhere from 45 cars per day, in a really small town, quaint corner out of a small town, to maybe, 100,000 cars a day or more. So it just really depends on the visibility that you're going to be getting. How much road frontage do you have? How many linear square feet do you have? That might be important too. How many egresses do you have? How much parking spaces do you need for your clientele or your tenants that you're putting in this space? The city will give you that information, and sometimes they will use a special ratio or formulas for that. Every city has their own, depending on the use, how many parking spaces they will allow. So it's not just the set number. It might be different depending on the use. As well as signage. You might want to put signage on your building, or maybe a monument out front. Well, the city or the county will help you with knowing the diameters, or whether you can or can't, whether it can be lit or where it can't, how far from the road frontage can it be, how high. I mean, you name it. They've got it down to a science. So they'll be able to let you know whether you could put it on the building or a marquee, for example. But not only do you need to talk to the city or the county, you might be needing to talk to, let's say, a landlord, or maybe the property is located in a HOA, a homeowners association or appeal, like a property owners association, might be something else. It also might be a historical district or an overlay district. So you'll definitely need to make sure who manages the property. You know, you might have some bylaws, some rules and regulations, but always the city has the final say. So you always want to make sure that you talk with the city or the county and make sure you get that understood and you have those permits and approvals for them before you get started. You might also need to have a plan design. So you'll talk with your sign contractor. They'll draw it out for you, get it all submitted to the county or the city. So there's a lot more involved. This again is just a high level. This is not that all and everything that you need to know for a property, because every property is very unique. Also, before you can start business, you're going to need a certificate of occupancy, sometimes also called a certificate of compliance. It just really depends. So this is an application that you'll submit to the city usually, and they will usually have you fill out some information. It could be anywhere from a $100 fee to something different. Every city is very different in their fee structure. Usually will entail a building inspection and a fire inspection before you could open your doors for business. So, and then you might also have some improvements that you want to make. So you definitely need to make sure that you can do it in your area, especially if it's an historic downtown area. Let's say we're close to downtown McKinney here. It could be downtown Rockwall, could be downtown Austin. Could be downtown Louisville, it could be anywhere. So you just need to make sure that anything that you want to do to the exterior of the building is approved by the city, but also by the historic district. A lot to consider, but again, if you have someone that you are working with that is experienced in commercial real estate that can help you go over all these questions that you will definitely need to ask, all these legal approvals and permits and zoning. So if you have to change the zoning, it could be 3, 4, 6 months down the road. That may affect your contract due diligence date. So definitely find someone that's experienced in this field. I'd love to help you if you're looking to purchase land to develop or also to purchase commercial real estate. I'd be happy to help you. Look forward to talking to you soon.